It was a bright morning filled with joy and new beginnings. Today, Barbie proudly inaugurated the new Sunshine Orphanage, a place built with love, hope, and memories of her own journey. She began her heartfelt speech, sharing the story of her childhood, how she and her brother Eli struggled to survive after losing their parents, and how those painful days taught them the true meaning of courage, kindness, and family. Back then, she began softly, Barbie's life and home were always filled with laughter. Her brother Eli and Barbie were full of life, always running, playing, and dancing with our father in the garden behind the mansion. He used to grant every wish they made, just like magic. One sunny afternoon, as Barbie and Eli stood in the garden of their luxurious mansion, laughing without a care in the world, they casually mentioned wanting their favorite sports cars. To anyone else, it might have sounded like a dream, a distant fantasy, but not to their father, John. He didn't just listen, he surprised them. While John watching them with a kind smile, Barbie and Eli were stunned with surprise. In a grand modern mansion, Barbie, stunning in an elegant red dress, stood beside John and Eli, cutting a beautifully decorated birthday cake as guests watched in delight. John and Eli clapped joyfully. John and his brother-in-law and business partner David arrived confidently into the grand meeting room of Stonebridge Company. Today wasn't just any meeting, it was the biggest day of his career. The company was about to get a huge, super profitable project from an important client. Congratulations, Mr. John. The project officially belongs to Stonebridge. The room buzzed with excitement, but someone else in the room, hidden behind a friendly face, was a devilish plan, a secret scheme to take more profit and betray John. The mysterious person thought silently, "Now it's time to make my move. If I play this right, I'll get more profit than John ever will." After the meeting, David, his bright red tie catching the light, leaned closer to John and began explaining the plan to make the project a great success on time. John, with aggressive and stern expression, said, "David, I've been reviewing the bridge project details. I figured out you used hollow steel in that bridge. That's not cutting costs, it's gambling with lives. I've shut the project down." David, wearing a dark black tailored suit with a red tie, replied in a defensive style, "John, this project is crucial. Don't let minor issues hold you back. You don't know what you're doing, John. This will ruin us both." John angrily replied, "You'll answer for this. I'm reporting the fraud to the city engineers tomorrow." David replied, "Then we're at the edge, John, and you just took your final step. That man, John, is trouble. We need to get rid of him before he ruins everything." David ordered his hired murderer. The murderer replied aggressively, "All right, I'll call you from John's office so you can hear him screaming. Consider it done." John was focused on the news when, without warning, the intruder leapt from behind and seized him by the neck. John struggled, shocked and terrified. On the other side of the line, David's expression darkened. He could hear John's distant screams confirming that his plan was taking shape. Barbie looked at her brother anxiously.
"Where's Dad?"
she asked, her voice trembling.
"He didn't come home last night. Something's wrong. I don't like this feeling."
Her brother Eli, eyes filled with tears, said,
"Barbie, Dad's gone. I just heard from the servants. He's dead."
Barbie said with tears,
"Why did you leave us so soon, Dad? Everything feels so empty without you. You always promised to be there for me, so why aren't you here now? Please come back."
David stood in the John's mansion, a triumphant grin spreading across his face. He felt as if he had won it all. The business, the mansion, the success. Now everything is mine. David kneels in front of the kids, fake kind smile, but eyes betray cruelty, and said, "I'll take good care of your father's legacy, and you, until you're legal, of course." David revealed his cruel side, ordering Barbie and Eli to move into the old attic. The children trembled, frightened and uncertain about their future. They were left to starve, so Barbie and Eli began stealing food from the kitchen. "Hurry, Barbie," Eli whispered urgently. "Someone's coming." Through the kitchen door bars, Eli clutched his toy compass, eyes filled with tears.
"Why did he lock us out, Barbie? I'm so hungry,"
he whispered. Just then, they overheard David on the phone, plotting to kill them. Barbie pulled him close.
"We'll be okay,"
she murmured.
"Dad taught us to outsmart anyone."
Barbie devised a plan to trick David. With tears in her eyes, she said softly,
"Uncle, you're like a father to us. Eli and I decided that when we turn 18, we'll transfer everything to your name, just like Dad would have wanted. Then we can focus on our studies, knowing the business is safe with you.
Barbie pretends to make it official by calling the family's lawyer, Mr. Collin, at home, who used to handle her father's business. This makes David fully believe her.
Mr. Collins, Uncle David has cared for us since Father passed. Eli and I decided that when we turn 18, he'll manage our property, just like Father did.
David pretending to look proud and moved, but his eyes gleam with greed and hidden triumph. His lips form a faint, satisfied smile that looks kind on the surface but carries a sly, cunning undertone. Mr. Collins, adjusting his glasses, said,
"You said there's something you wish to discuss. Very well, I'll make a note and prepare the necessary papers for when you come of age."
Far away, Uncle Mark heard the news that shattered his heart. His brother was gone. Without a moment's delay, he returned home after years of silence, determined to uncover what really happened and protect his niece and nephew. Mark moving around intense, struggling to find evidences or clues in an old basement room filled with files. Blueprints trying to find evidence. Dust particles floating in soft light beams. Mark finally uncovered something in an old basement. He was holding torn documents and a blueprint showing weak bridge structures. His eyes grim, but resolved after struggling hard in the old basement room. John's older brother Mark showed those torn documents and a blueprint showing weak bridge structures to Barbie and Eli in a dim attic cluttered with old furniture. Eli and Barbie, looking into papers, replied anxiously,
He was trying to protect the city. And us.
Mark said firmly,
"We'll use these as evidence. The real reason behind what happened to John."
Eli's eyes widened as the truth began to sink in.
It was David, wasn't it? Then we'll make him pay. For Dad.
Mark, his face tense and eyes sharp, whispered urgently,
"There's a secret passage through the old wine cellar. Follow me."
Barbie and Eli exchanged anxious looks, their hearts pounding as they hurried after him. Inside the mansion, Barbie and Eli hurriedly packed a small bag under Mark's watch. As she slipped a jacket and her compass into the backpack, Barbie whispered, tense and alert.
We have to move fast. David's guards are everywhere.
Suddenly, shadows swept past the heavy doors. With tense faces and quick breaths, Mark, Barbie, and Eli slipped silently through a hidden door behind the old wine rack. Late night, David was watching security cameras with a sinister smile, and at once David shouted in anger, Barbie and Eli slipping through the mansion grounds. They think they can run. Let's remind them who controls this game. Barbie, Eli, and Mark managed to escape from mansion and reach dense forest. Barbie sprinting through dense bushes. Eli and Mark running beside her, breathing hard but trusting on their fate.
We need proof to stop David, to clear Dad's name. We can't let Uncle David get away with this.
We have to find those fake materials listed in these documents. My brother's name was ruined because of them. I won't let David get away with this,
Mark said fiercely, his voice burning with anger and determination. Mark and Eli bent over an old map, tracing their route carefully, planning their way into the warehouse to collect the material samples.
"This route avoids the guards. Once we get those samples, David's lies will be over."
David, in a dimly lit office called Henchman, cruelly said, "Find their hideout. Bring me those kids and the evidence." A burly henchman said, with a very aggressive expression, "Yes, sir. They won't escape. They won't hide forever, sir." Mark, Eli, and Barbie crouched in a shadowy warehouse, filled with piles of suspicious-looking construction materials, flashlight in hand, whispered to Barbie and Eli.
"This is where David stores the fake bridge materials. We need proof."
At once they froze. Faint voices echoed from somewhere outside the warehouse, growing closer with each passing second. Suddenly, Eli's eyes locked onto a sack of cement labeled for the bridge project. His face lit up with excitement as he pointed toward it and whispered,
Mark, look, over there.
Mark flashed the torchlight onto the sack and exclaimed with excitement, "Our first evidence?" Mark, Barbie, and Eli stood wide-eyed in the dark warehouse. Moonlight glimmered on piles of fake bridge materials. Mark whispered,
"This is the other section, where David hides the fake bridge materials."
Uncle Mark's hand holding a crumbling, cheap-looking piece of metal, worn and corroded, factory machinery in a blurred background with a determined face said,
"See this? It's cheap and dangerous. This bridge could collapse anytime."
Barbie carefully snapping photos with a small digital camera, Eli, standing alert by the warehouse door, shouted, "Hurry up! Someone might be coming." As they reviewed the videos and photos of the evidences, Mark looked at Barbie and Eli with determination. "These proofs will save your family and stop the disaster," he said firmly. Barbie replied with eyes shining with hope.
Now we have got all the proofs. We have to tell the authorities. They'll believe us.
Inside a hidden cabin, Mark, on a laptop with a serious face and determined, said, "I'm contacting a journalist. This will blow the lid off." David's face twisted in rage, backlit by stormy window light, shouted, "Stop this nonsense. Find those kids now." A tough-looking henchman with a walkie-talkie standing behind David replied with firm, "They won't hide forever, sir." As the shadows of henchmen passed by, Eli whispered, "I don't want to be caught by them." 4 henchmen of David found a small cabin hidden in the woods. They searched every corner inside, but no one was there. A confident, striking female journalist stood before flashing cameras, papers in hand. She reported firmly,
"Tonight, new evidence exposes dangerous corruption in the city's major bridge project."
In the dim wooden cabin, Barbie watched the live broadcast on a TV, her eyes shining with hope. Turning to Mark, she whispered softly,
If we prove David's guilt, Dad would be so proud of us.
Mark replied softly, "He would be, Barbie. Your father always believed in doing what's right, no matter the cost. You and Eli have carried his courage farther than he ever dreamed." Next day, Mark and Barbie went to the police station. In a sterile interrogation room, soft daylight filtering through a barred window, the police officer said, "We'll investigate your claims thoroughly. This kind of corruption is serious." Barbie exchanged a hopeful glance with Mark and said,
Thank you, officer. We just want the truth to come out.
Police officer replied, "It will. You've done the right thing coming here." Finally, judge seated at a high bench announced the decision. After reviewing all evidence, the court rules in favor of the victims. Eli and Mark seated in a large courtroom, Barbie said, "We did it. At last we won the battle. Justice is finally ours." Eli at once stood up confidently, said peacefully, "No more hiding. This is our new beginning of life." Uncle Mark, in a sunlit garden, surrounded by blooming flowers and green grass in a peaceful and hopeful atmosphere, said to Barbie and Eli, "Welcome home, kids. Your father would be proud of your courage and bravery." Barbie, Eli, and Mark, in a heartfelt group hug in the sunlit garden, smiles wide, faces full of relief and love, background filled with colorful flowers and clear blue sky. They captured a joyful group photo to remember this big day of celebration.